One index that I find very interesting is the inverse correlation of addiction within the society. The more a society produces addiction within the people in it, the less healthy I think the society is as a pretty fundamental metric. And so the more the individuals feel that there are less compulsive things in compelling them to behave in ways that are destructive to their own values, and insofar as a civilization is conditioning and influencing the individuals within it, the inverse of addiction.
Broadly defined.
Correct.
Addiction. What's it? Yeah.
Compulsive behavior that is destructive towards things that we value.
Yeah.
I think that's a very interesting one to think about.
That's a really interesting one, yeah.
And this is then also where comfort and addiction start to get very close. And the ability to go in the other direction from addiction is the ability to be exposed to hypernormal stimuli and not go down the path of desensitizing to other stimuli and needing that hypernormal stimuli, which does involve a kind of hormesis. So I do think the civilization of the future has to create something like ritualized discomfort. And
ritualized discomfort.
Yeah. I think that's what the Sweat Lodge and the Vision Quest and the solo journey and the ayahuasca journey and the Sundance were. I think it's even a big part of what yoga asana was, is to make beings that are resilient and strong, they have to overcome some things. To make beings that can control their own mind and fear, they have to face some fears. But we don't want to put everybody in war or real trauma. And yet we can see that the most fucked up people we know had childhoods of a lot of trauma. But some of the most incredible people we know had childhoods of a lot of trauma, whether or not they happen to make it through and overcome that or not. So how do we get the benefits of the stealing of character and the resilience and the whatever that happened from the difficulty without traumatizing people? A certain kind of ritualized discomfort that not only has us overcome something by ourselves, but overcome it together with each other, where nobody bails when it gets hard because the other people are there. So it's both a resilience of the individuals and a resilience of the bonding. So I think we'll keep getting more and more comfortable stuff, but we have to also develop resilience in the presence of that, for the anti-addiction direction and the fullness of character, and the trustworthiness to others.
So you have to be consistently injecting discomfort into the system. Ritualize. I mean, this sounds like you have to imagine Sisyphus happy. You have to imagine Sisyphus with his rock, optimally resilient from a metrics perspective in society. So we want to constantly be throwing rocks at ourselves.
Not constantly. You didn't have to
frequently.
Periodically.
Periodically.
Yes. And there's different levels of intensity, different periodicities. Now, I do not think this should be imposed by states. I think it should emerge from cultures. And I think the cultures are developing people that understand the value of it. So there is both a cultural cohesion to it, but there's also a voluntarism because the people value the thing that is being developed. They understand it.
And that's where it's conditioning. It's conditioning some of these values. And
conditioning is a bad word because we like our idea of sovereignty, but when we recognize the language that we speak and the words that we think in and the patterns of thought built into that language and the aesthetics that we like, and so much is conditioned in us just based on where we're born, you can't not condition people. So all you can do is take more responsibility for what the conditioning factors are, and then you have to think about this question of what is a meaningful human life, because we're, unlike the other animals born into environment that they're genetically adapted for, we're building new environments that we were not adapted for, and then we're becoming affected by those. So then we have to say, well, what kinds of environments, digital environments, physical environments, social environments, would we want to create that would develop the healthiest, happiest, most moral, noble, meaningful people? And what are even those sets of things that matter? So you end up getting deep existential consideration at the heart of civilization design when you start to realize how powerful we're becoming and how much what we're building it in service towards matters.